What is the chasm? Think about it like this. High performance occurs when leaders operate within this fine line of supportive assertive. Supportive leadership is when we want to develop people, we want to become passionate, empathetic, we want to build rapport, trust, and we want to support people. Assertive is when we do not apologize that we are here to deliver results and outcomes, and we are going to be accountable for those, and we're going to make sure that that is delivered. If you are overly assertive as a leader, and you've all done your profiling in the room, if you are overly assertive, you will absolutely drive results, but at what cost? Because you will end up losing your people and you will lose engagement. If you are overly supportive, and some of you with your print profiling and with your psychometric feedback and your 360, if you are a wonderful boss to work for and everybody likes you and you're compassionate and empathetic, you will absolutely engage your people. But if you are overly on that side, you will struggle to drive accountability and execution. You've all known them, the leaders who are everybody's best friend, but they can't absolutely get people to commit to stuff, or there's complacency in the environment. So the chasm of supportive, assertive leadership is where it's at. Assertive leadership has these types of qualities: directive communication style, strong commanding presence. They provide clear objectives and expectations. Verify and check processes are it's a major sign of assertive leadership. And what I mean by that is those people who are constantly checking and verifying that what needs to be done is to be done. I think my team would probably vouch for, I am very high on check and verify. It absolutely drives them crazy and pisses them off, right? It does. But the reason I do that is because that is my way of ensuring, first of all, it's my way of curing my execution anxiety, which I have in high abundance. But secondly, it's my way of making sure that stuff gets done that we need to do. Check and verify process. Highly motivated towards achieving goals. The supportive leadership would say that it's more around characteristics around being amiable and collaborative, compassionate. They embrace alternative views, prioritizes the engagement and the happiness and the harmony of the team over the task and the goal. And they definitely seek to constantly maintain that harmony in the team. Both supportive and assertive leadership is incredibly important to find that chasm. You need to be able to balance the two. So the chasm looks like this. As a leader, and as you go through today, I want you to try and identify what you are naturally, what your default position is. Because if you understand what that is, you will learn to be able to know when you need to dial it up or dial it down in certain situations to reach the chasm. So for supportive leaders in the room, if you're a 9-2 in print, Paul, can I use you as an example because I've worked with you? Paul is an incredibly supportive leader, it would be fair to say. His first priority is around people. His first priority is around others, around developing, around supporting, making sure people is happy. So Paul would be on this side of the fence. The challenge would be for Paul is when performance is dropping off and when execution is not there and when standards are dropping, Paul needs to dial it up. Lee, assertive leader. I understand we need to support people. I understand we need harmony and compassion, but we're here to win. We're here to drive results. We have standards and I want them executing exactly how I want them. And I'm not going to apologize for that. So what happens in Lee's environment is everybody switches on. Everybody has that awareness that we have to deliver, which is amazing for high performance and it's amazing for the execution piece. However, he can probably leave people feel a bit battered and bruised at times. In the chasm is where high performance occurs. We've worked with thousands of leaders and I can promise you this, in either direction, you will not drive high performing teams. You will be overly accommodating and you won't get stuff done, or you will be overly assertive and you will get results in assertive, but only for a short period. It will not be sustainable over the long haul. So the chasm of supportive assertive leadership is what we're doing a lot on at the minute. And we're saying to people, know where your starting point is and know whether you have to dial it down or whether you dial it up. Now, here's the third category. Some of you are on one day really assertive and really on it, and in another day, you're really, really supportive and not even paying attention. That's dangerous. And the reason that's dangerous is because nobody knows where you stand. It's inconsistent. And it's like, do I need to get this done? Is there urgency? Or, they're on a good day. If you've ever said that about a boss, you need to pick the right moment on a good day. At least be one or the other. At least know where you sit. And then you can either dial it down or dial it up. Concern for people is the first axis. concern for results is the other. If you have low concern for people and low concern for results, you shouldn't be here. But people can drift into being an absent leader sometimes. We've all done it. Have you ever done it where you've been so passionate about something and you're either trying to assert yourself or trying to support people through it, and it's like banging your head a bit against a brick wall, so you just think, do you know what? I've wrapped. I've had enough. And you become an absent leader. You give up. You've become very low on concern for the people because you don't care anymore, and you've become very low on the concern for results. Usually you're updating your CV and you're looking for a new job if this is the position you end up with. High on concern for people, low on concern for results is the supportive leader. It is okay, it's great. You will have a wonderful team, a wonderful harmony, but again, you won't deliver the results. Same for assertive. The chasm is where we need to be. I'm sure you're all going to do this test, and here's my prediction. So don't spoil it, because I like to be right. Here's my prediction. The potential is that you probably would end up in the little corner of the chasm, because everyone's a great leader when the times are good, right? Everyone's balance is people and results. The biggest indicator I want you to be honest about today is, where do you transition to when you're in shadow? Where do you transition to when you're under pressure, when the chips are down, when results is not on? I transition to assertive. There's no way on earth when we are not performing or when things are not going well that I transition to supportive. It just doesn't happen, does it? It just doesn't happen. I go into assertive. I go right down to the bottom of the grid, and my only way is to re-establish control and to start kicking ass and taking names. That's my only way. And it's not good all the time, but I'm conscious of that's where I go. Some of you will go into supportive in a crisis or whatever. You will go overly accommodating because you don't want the conflict, or you'll try and not eat the frog or avoid it. And then you accommodate it too long, you put it off too long, and you don't address the performance issue in the moment because you're too supportive. And if you go too absent because you've just had enough of it, that's not going to help anybody. So think about where you go, where you transition to when you're under pressure and when you're under stress. And finally, what we're going to try and get you to do is go, okay, so if I'm Martin Johnson and I know that under pressure and stress I go to overly assertive, I need to dial it down. So what are the questions I need to ask myself to dial it down? How do I recognize first and foremost that I dial it down? These are mine, by the way, so you can make your own up, but these are the questions I ask myself. Are people communicating and open? If these guys stop communicating, I'm overly assertive. I'm too dominant. If they stop contributing, if they're afraid to challenge, I've done a bad job. So my question is, are people challenging me? Are they open? Are they communicating? That's the first question. Are we falling into presenteeism? They're just here doing the job, waiting to be told what to do, doing just what's required and nothing more. If that's a sign, I need to dial it down. Are there any signs of toxicity or negativity? Are we getting moaning, victim mentality, whatever it might be? And do I have hearts and minds? Do I have people fully passionate behind it? If I don't, I need to dial my leadership down back to the chasm. Not right over to supportive, just into the chasm. And for you supportive leaders out there, ask yourself the questions. You might have a great team, good harmony. Are we delivering the results we need? Are we actually winning? Are we delivering what we need to do? Are we focusing on the right priorities? Are we all over the shop? Have I given them clarity? Are we using our time wisely? Do we have any urgency to act? So the chasm is where it's at. I need you to get used to this, dialing up, dialing down. Daring leadership, humble leadership is where we know in the moment when we're being overly assertive or overly accommodating, and we know when to slightly dial it up and slightly dial it down. Because if you can reach that chasm more often than not, you will drive high performance and you will have your people behind you along the way.